Maybe you've known someone who was very shy, who hardly ever talked at all. Well, I know a story about someone who was like that. A young boy who was very, very shy, and because of that, the people all thought he was medio bobo, kind of foolish. But he didn't care what the people thought about him. He had his own ideas. Well, now this boy got to be about 17 years old. And as the people would do back in those times, his parents sent him out into the world to make his own living. So he started looking for a job, but nobody would offer him a job. They didn't think he was bright enough to do any kind of work. Finally, the priest in the little village took the boy in to be his servant. Well, you would think that a priest would be a kind man, and he would have sympathy for a poor, simple boy like that. Not this priest. He was a very proud man. He came from a faraway city. He thought he was superior to all the simple villagers. And right away, he thought he would entertain himself by making a big fool of that boy. The priest called the boy to him, and he told him that if he was going to work in that house, he had to use the correct name for everything. The priest said, Comienza conmigo. ¿Cómo me vas a llamar a mí? Start with me, he said. What will you call me? And the boy said, Padre o cura o lo que quiera usted. He said, Father or curate or whatever you want. The priest said, No. You must call me Su Reverencia, your reverence. And then he pointed at the animal sleeping over in the corner. He said, What will you call that? The boy looked over there. He said, Gato o gata o lo que quiera usted. Boy cat or girl cat or whatever you want. The priest said, No. Call her La Reina de Gata que mata la rata. The queen of the cats, the killer of rats. And then he pointed at the fireplace. He said, What do you see burning there? In the chimney. The boy said, Lumbre o llamas o lo que quiera usted. Fire or flames or whatever you want. The priest said, No. Call it calor e iluminación. Heat and illumination. And then he took the boy into the kitchen. He pointed at a pitcher of water on the table. He said, ¿Qué es lo que está dentro de la jarra? What is in that pitcher? The boy only knew one word for water. Agua! The priest said, No es agua, es líquido de la vida. It's not water, it's the liquid of life. And then he pointed all around at the house. He said, What will you call all of this? The boy gave up. He said, Lo que quiera usted, whatever you want. And the priest told him, You must call it La Residencia Sacerdotal, the priestly residence. And then he sent the boy away. But he reminded him that the next time they spoke, he had better use the correct name for everything. Well, that boy was not foolish. He knew that the priest was making fun of him. And he started thinking about how he could get even. He remembered an old saying his parents were always repeating. It goes like this, Donde hay ganas, hay mañas. It's kind of like where there's a will, there's a way. But una maña is trickier than any old way. Se le ocurrió una buena maña. He came up with a good trick. He went down to the village. He spent the little bit of money he had to buy a big skyrocket, like you might shoot off on the 4th of July. And then he went home and he waited until nighttime. After the priest had gone to bed, the boy called the cat to him. Psst, 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 psst. He took a long string out of his pocket. He tied one end of that long string around the big skyrocket he had bought. And then he tied the other end of the long string around the cat's tail. And he lit the fuse. The skyrocket took off. And then the cat took off. But wherever the cat ran, the rocket was right behind it. The cat ran around and around the house, scattering sparks in every direction. And the boy walked over to the doorway of the priest's room. He knocked on the door and he shouted like this: "Levántese su reverencia. La reina de gata que mata a la rata está tirando calor e iluminación por toda la residencia sacerdotal. Si usted no corre con líquido de la vida, la residencia va a quedar todo calor e iluminación." He said, "Get up, your reverence. The queen of the cats, the killer of rats, is scattering heat and illumination all over the priestly residence. If you don't come running with some liquid of life, the priestly residence will be all on heat and illumination." And he didn't wait around to see if the priest would follow his advice or not. He just made sure the skyrocket was out and that the cat hadn't been hurt. And then he left that house and he never went back there again.